Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central. I am Gil Ingles, and with me in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the media tycoons of Houston, Texas. This lady is not taking any prisoners. She's definitely bagging them all one by one. She's making sure that her brand is the brand that represents the Africans in the diaspora. Hands down, diaspora, stand up. Because today Nigeria is in the building and well represented by Nia.
This is going to be fun.
I'm trying to tell you, this got to be the best interaction that you and I have ever had amongst ourselves, right?
Yes.
Because I'll be very honest with you. I met you, and I'd like to start with an accolade. I remember when I met you, the one thing that I loved about you was your energy.
Oh,
okay?
Thank you.
And a lot of times we don't realize, but it's like the energy that we actually put out there becomes what other people envision and what other people tap into.
Yeah.
So let me give you the story. You came in, and the program that you were actually hosting that day at Said Institute Library kind of got switched like all of a sudden, and you kind of had to adapt very quickly. And that's where you can tell a professional from an amateur. A professional will basically sit down, look and see, okay, these are my requirements. This is how we're going to get it done. Is there a problem? Not a problem at all. We got it. Let's go. And once you sit down, you make it work. Showtime is showtime, right? There's no complaining, no dragging, none of that. Limitations, no limitations. You make it happen. And that's what I appreciated you. And for that, I want to say thank you. And I say thank you because when you support institutions like Said Institute, non-profit institutions that actually do nothing but provide the community tools necessary for us to be a successful community.
Absolutely.
Is something to be appreciated. So on behalf of everyone in the African community, in the diaspora, thank you very much.
Oh my God, Gil, I'm getting chills.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing me here,
Indeed.
having me on. I genuinely appreciate it. And thanks for the accolade,
Thank you.
really.
Thank you.
Feels really good to hear that. You know, I don't know if I can go right in and just kind of
Oh
respond to
yeah,
your
we can
accolade.
go. We can go. We can go. We can
Okay.
roll.
No, what I
Yeah.
love.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
Technology
fine.
these
Technology.
days. Gracious. need to silence these
Are you
damn
like me?
things.
Do you have so many phones like me? Because I have so many phones.
No, I only have two. One the personal one and one for phone. That's it. No,
Listen, so I
not
get
too
it.
many phones.
I get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let me say this. Again, thanks for bringing me on.
Indeed.
And thanks for the accolade. You know, it's so funny when you say that you can differentiate an amateur from a professional.
Yeah.
And I can just take all the credit because I was even talking to my cousins this weekend. I was like, I've lived a very good life. And I have lived a life of training.
Right.
So I want to say I'm in my 30s, early 30s. I'm not going to say the number.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
But all my life, I've been training for this dream that I've always had. And I'm a strong Christian, and God has put me in places and allowed me to experience things that have shaped me to be who I am. So I cannot be the girl next door. I can't be the other girl. I can only be me.
Exactly.
And the way that I am able to operate and present as a host or gather my thoughts or prepare is all because of this training that I had. I went to a church that was very, very strict, but a church where I had to be the service leader, meaning I had to prep the whole church every day to get ready to receive the sermon, right?
Got you.
And we had to be professional. We had to wear a suit. We had to stand tall. We have to stand erect like models. We had to speak well. And even during service, like things might happen, last minute stuff, but we had to just make sure that we put that, that face on, that game face on.
Indeed.
And so I want to, credit that as to why I have become this way, all of those experiences and training. So I'm thankful. It's really God. So thank you for seeing it and acknowledging it as well.
No, indeed. It's to be recognized because at the end of the day, we all know that you work hard to be that person, right? It doesn't just happen. And with that, sometimes family also plays a big role in it, right? So let's go ahead and start with your family.
Yes.
Yeah? Mom, dad, who are they? How many siblings? Let's talk about that.
That's good. I've never spoken about this before. I'm very private.
I told you that this conversation
I
is
know,
going to be
I
the
love
first
it.
of first.
I'm
right?
like, how loud can I get? Can I be like, oh my God? No, thank you. I have never, I'm very private. I don't talk so much about my personal life. But I am active on social media. I'm
Indeed.
either dancing or whatever. But
Indeed.
yes, I so thankful I have my parents still here. Went through COVID, they're still alive.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad from Nigeria.
Okay.
They live here in Houston. They frequent Houston and Nigeria,
Okay.
right, back and forth.
Okay.
I am the fourth of 5
Okay.
children. We were 4 girls for a long time.
Okay.
And when I turned 20, my mom and dad decided to adopt a boy. So that's why we're 5. So we're 4 girls.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I know, 4 very strong. Even the way we're built, they said,
Yeah.
you look like Serena Williams.
There
like
you
you're
go.
so built, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We're strong, very, very
Yeah.
strong, powerful women. And then the young boy, when I was 20, was adopted. And so now he should be in his teens.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's my family dynamics.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Now, where do you fit in the 4?
In what sense? I'm the last. I'm the last.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby,
Okay.
yes. I was the
All
baby
right.
for the longest until the boy came. Oh.
Yeah.
But do I like being a baby? No.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Yeah,
I'm the baby.
but it's good though because you get to learn a lot, and that probably does give a lot of keen sense to the rest of us on why your sense of intelligence is very high.
Oh, thank
because
you.
you seem to be very observant and very very
Yes.
keen on picking things up
Yes.
and enhancing things.
Yes.
And that's something that a lot of people who actually have intelligence, right, basically they watch, they see how it is done, and then they apply it because
Yes.
they do it better.
Yes.
Yeah. So the parents are from what state in Nigeria?
Oh, that's a good question. My parents are from Imo State in
Okay.
Nigeria. My dad, when he was in his 30s, moved to Benin,
Okay.
and then went and did like entrepreneurship and trading and became very, very successful.
Yeah.
He was one of the richest men in my village.
Okay.
Till today, his name still, is
Okay.
resounding in the village.
So what is the name?
Eddie Amuzie.
Okay.
And that's why I get people always say, where'd you get Nia Black from? Because I go by
Right.
Nia Black Amuzie.
Right.
And Black is literally my dad's name. And
Yeah.
he got that name because he's so dark skinned.
Okay.
And in Africa, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, we didn't really,
Yeah.
rejoice so
Right.
much in our dark skin.
Right.
Not everyone. And so they were like,
and then if you went to Benin, he kind of fell right in place.
He
'cause
fell
people in
right in-
Benin is
literally fell
yeah,
right-
Yeah, people in West Africa, it's like you got countries in which you can kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Mhm.
And so, they started to call him Eddie Black.
There you
So
go.
it's Edwin, but it's Eddie Black.
Mhm.
And I took that name just because I feel like I definitely want to just take on his legacy and be powerful in the world, just
There
like
you
he
go.
was.
Yeah.
Still is, and even shed positive light on our blackness.
Yeah.
So I want to be such an example where when people see me and they say Nia Black, it's like I embody Black excellence.
Got you.
And for me, that's very, very important.
Yeah.
And so he was literally the first one to put electricity in my village.
There you go.
He was just very into the people, the community building. But then he had cancer when we were very young, and we lost a lot of things, all of our wealth, we lost it. So. And then he moved here.
Okay.
Ooh, am I getting emotional? I hope not.
No, it's okay.
But
It's
it was
okay.
a very trying period for my
Yeah.
family. And then my third sister became disabled.
Oh wow.
She had meningitis when she was in secondary school in Nigeria,
Wow.
in Lagos, close to Lagos. And then it left her completely mentally, just disabled.
Right.
She was having seizures. She's unable to walk, unable to hear.
Whoa.
So my family that was a very trying period for us. Dad is sick, sister is sick.
Yeah.
Dad had to move to the US. My mom had to carry the burden.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. Had to raise 3 girls
Mhm.
and then an additional disabled daughter. So
Right.
4 girls.
Yeah.
It was a very trying time. And that is why I'm very big on healthcare in Nigeria being better, or
Got-
healthcare in Africa. Because
Got you.
if they had caught that meningitis
Right,
quickly,
earlier,
she wouldn't
yeah.
be,
Indeed.
she's older than I am, but
Yeah.
she's still pretty much disabled and,
Right. Mm.
reliant on us.
Yeah. Mom's name. Let's go.
Yeah, Gladys
Gladys.
Amuzie. That's English, but her Igbo name, because we're Igbos. We're
Yeah.
Igbo, hey, Igbo
There you
Kweno.
go.
We're Igbos. Her name is Ekutos.
Okay.
And then my dad is Chinedu
Got you.
Amuzie.
Got you. Okay. So very strong woman, though.
Oh,
Yeah. Is that probably what comes the vision that you also have? Because I mean,
Yes.
you did speak about your father about his vision, but I
Yeah.
can see the strength of your mother
yeah.
probably being very influential also, and especially on the pioneering
Oh.
aspect, right?
My dad is a visionary. My dad is powerful in terms of his star is so bright. He's great.
Right.
My mom is powerful in terms of her stability,
Got you.
her countenance,
She's the pillar.
her personality. She is the strength. She is the force that made my sister and I who we are.
Got you.
Without my mom,
Yeah.
would have broke. Because my dad is not, I wouldn't say emotionally strong,
Got you.
but my mom is a force.
Right.
And a lot of her strength is from God. That woman can pray.
Got
girl.
you.
Whew,
Yeah.
Jesus.
There you go.
She can pray for Africa.
There you go.
Literally, ask anyone. You
Yeah.
know, she's 24/7 just praying.
There you go.
And so those prayers have helped us be who we are. And I truly believe in that. So
Indeed. Now, the U.S., of course, you guys come to the U.S. and we're going to talk a little bit about it. But
Sure.
before then, we kind of got to go into a very quick break because after
problem.
all, we got to showcase what you actually do.
Hey.
Right? Yeah. Because people need to know who you really are when you are on this side of the desk.
Oh, thank you.
So we'll be right back. And we are back. For those of you that just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, and this spotlight is on Nia Black. Yes, and she took black to let you know that excellence is part of her. Nia, America happens. What was your port of entry?
Port of entry was, of course, through my dad. He made a way for all of us to come here, and we moved to Chicago. So I was about 14 going on 15
That
when
was
I moved
cold.
here.
That's cold. Did
Who
you come in the
telling?
winter?
Yes, we did. And I was like, what is this? And the thing is, we've all glorified America, right? As, you know, Africans. And, you know, America to us was like heaven.
Yeah.
And I said this, I gave a talk on TED, and I said this, like I was talking to one of my best friends growing up in Nigeria, and I was like, America is paradise.
Right.
You know, I must go. And so we come in, and I'm like, is this paradise now? And not even just Chicago.
Yeah.
We lived on the south side of Chicago. South side.
So you were really in Chicago. You in the hood. You really in Chicago.
In
You
the hood,
Yeah.
Gil.
Yeah.
Went to school on the south side of Chicago.
There you go.
It was a huge cultural shock
Yeah.
and cultural defense for such a young girl. It was honestly a good experience. In terms of looking back now, retrospectively looking back, I'm like, I'm glad I went through that.
Got you.
There were gunshots
Yeah.
everywhere, every time. In the classroom, we would like hide under the desk because of people
Wow.
shooting.
Yeah.
And my disabled sister, before she became really, really bad, like deteriorated to where she is now,
Right.
we went to school together, and she
Wow.
was in the special programs.
Yeah.
And I remember we were literally running out of campus.
Wow.
One time there was a bad shooting, gang violence,
Oh wow.
and helicopters was literally just circulating our schools, and cars, police cars everywhere. I literally had to grab her and start running.
Wow.
Because she didn't know what she can't
Yeah.
hear. She doesn't know
Right.
what's happening.
Yeah. So
And so those were my fondest memory. I don't know if fondest is a positive or negative.
well,
thing
that's
of Chicago.
you actually answered my next question, because I was going to ask you what was the most shocking thing, but I can see that's definitely a shocking
That
thing
was
for someone that
shocking.
just came in
Oh,
and
my
you're a kid.
goodness.
But it teaches you something though, that sense of responsibility that you then gotta
100%.
have for your sibling.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Because it's not just you now. You gotta look out for your sibling. You gotta make sure that you are.
And if I wonder, because I always think about everything very big and grand, if I can take it to one step, one level higher, I would say even for my people.
Right. Indeed.
It was in that school and through that experience, I realized I wanted to fight for my people. I had moments where I would literally be in bed and say, God, help me fight for my Black people.
Right.
Like, what can I do? Use me as your instrument.
Right. How can we be better?
How can we be better?
Right.
Can I build infrastructure? Can I go into politics? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Indeed.
Because seeing the state of my people really pierced me so hard. So it gave me a sense of responsibility, which I still carry, not just for my family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm representing my people wherever I go, and my people being Black across the diaspora.
That is quite true.
And so, yeah, it gave me that sense of responsibility for sure.
Because, it's because of people like you that today, what we consider the diaspora, it's an actual culture that we also have to accept responsibility for.
100%.
Right? Because we can no longer say that, oh, I'm from there, or I'm from, no. Where are you from? From the diaspora.
I am. 100%.
And
We
that's
are.
what you represent. Yeah. Because we live these experiences that they sometimes even difficult to be able to tell to someone back home for them to understand. They may even think that you're trying to tell them a story, right? Or a movie scene.
It's like,
real life.
did that happen? Yes, it did.
Real life.
You're right.
Yeah.
Girl.
Now, media. How does that land in your life? Actually, before we even get into media, I want to get into something. What schools did you go to in Chicago? Give them a
I went
shout
to a lot
out.
of schools. Let
Yeah?
me tell you that
Yeah.
because I was a very confused person.
Okay.
I graduated as the valedictorian, and so I gave a speech on
Smart too.
We thank God.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear me say God because I cannot say nothing without God. I don't know what kind of
Indeed.
show I'm on, but
There
it
you
is
go.
what it
You-
is.
You're in the listen. As long as you're saying what you need to
What
be
I
saying,
ex-
what you feel, don't
Who
worry
I
about
am.
what kind of show you are. You're representing the truth.
Gil, I love you.
Indeed.
Thank you. So I was confused after giving that speech and seeing like, and that was where my power started to come out.
Okay.
So this woman that I am really was in high school in Chicago. I had no idea I had this untapped talent and
Yeah.
power innately. And so when I would give speeches or run for student council, I would just start to blossom and become bigger and people would just cheer. And so that speech on graduation day, the whole school was up, standing and clapping.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm supposed to be in front speaking to people and helping people. But
you go.
it took a long journey to get to this media because I didn't know how to actualize this dream or to become like what classes do you take to speak on stage, right?
Indeed,
I don't know.
indeed, yeah.
I didn't know. I was so
Public
confused.
speaking classes in those days were not.
We're
that
not what it
famous.
is
Yeah.
now, sorry. And so
Yeah,
for
it's
me, my whole family is just focused on the whole medical line, like every African family, right? My sister's a pharmacist, the other one is a nurse practitioner, so I was
you go.
supposed to be the doctor.
Okay.
So I had no idea. So I went to UIC, University of Illinois at Chicago. But first, let me say my high school was called Global Visions Academy, Bowen High School, Chicago.
There
Hey,
you go.
shout out. And so went to UIC, did pre-med, it did not work out.
Okay.
Switched to become an English major, did not work out.
Okay.
Became a psychologist or a psychology major, did not work out. Good.
Okay.
I've been around the block, okay? And then I went to Georgetown for a semester to do
Okay. In DC?
In DC.
Wow, that's my hometown.
Really?
Yes.
No wonder.
That's
We'll talk
me.
about that offline.
Yeah. Okay.
But and so I loved it because it helped me with my writing skills.
Okay.
It's really good. Took expository writing in
Yeah.
DC and Georgetown. And then in Chicago, after UIC, I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. So I transferred over to NEIU, Northeastern Illinois University.
Okay.
Smaller school, was better for me. And then I started to do political science because I want to
Okay.
change the world,
There you
right?
go.
Like that's the best
Yeah.
way. And that's what I graduated with.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, I did not get a job.
Okay.
So I got into
You wanted to get a job as a politician.
like how at 21 years old or 20 years old. It was a hard road, let me tell you
Right.
that. Confused.
Yeah.
And so I got a job in human resources, talent acquisition,
Okay.
admin, HR, earning like $12 an hour. Oh,
Yeah.
very little pay.
Yeah.
And that's why I started to just grow,
Yeah.
working in that role. And then my next role was also in HR and then HR and then HR for a long
Gotcha.
period of time. And I loved HR. Why?
Yeah.
Because again, it helped to really just make all of that training I was going through wholesome. I was working with executive. I was
Right.
scheduling interviews for VPs at
Right.
Walgreens corporate offices, Pepsi
Yeah.
corporate offices.
Yeah.
I had to interact with these high level people.
Exactly.
And that's why people say, Nia, you're always so professional, even the way you dress, because of the
Indeed.
training I've had.
Yeah, that's the corporate world.
That's
That's
the
the real business world.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I had to learn to shake
Indeed,
hands and look people in the
indeed,
eye and stand
indeed,
erect and
indeed.
articulate and communicate well.
Indeed.
I had people make fun of my accent. Oh,
Yeah.
so I had to go polish myself even
Yeah.
more and come out perfect. So I'm glad I did HR.
Right.
And so after HR, I was like, what am I going to do? Well, we need to tap into this thing that is,
Yeah.
this desire, this fire that's burning. And so I moved to London.
Okay.
I did my master's in London for close to 2 years.
Okay.
Studied global health and
Okay.
social justice.
Oh wow.
It was
Yeah,
one of
definitely a politician in the make.
Listen, okay, we
Yeah.
just might. I
No.
pray,
No.
amen.
That's the move. I
That's
think,
the move. Yes, I
that's
don't
the
know
move.
what God
That's
has
the
in store,
move.
but I'm
Right.
thinking that could be
Yeah.
it. Because I just love helping people and building infrastructure.
Yeah.
And so while in London, that's when I got a chance to speak on TEDx in Ghana. And then I kind of started my own nonprofit called Glow Up Africa, which
Okay.
helped with rebuilding educational infrastructures in West Africa.
Okay.
So we're building water supply, moving
Gotcha.
students, motivating them, speaking with them.
Nice.
I started to do that because just my heart for Africa is just beyond big.
Right. And that nonprofit is still active.
It is right now. Since the pandemic, we became inactive, but we're
Okay.
working towards being active again.
Reactivating it.
We're working
Okay.
towards. We have to. I have to.
Okay.
That's my passion.
Yeah.
And so did that for a little bit in London. And then after London, visa expired after 2 years. So,
Yeah.
and I ran some campaigns about mental health in Africa in London as well. Got a chance to connect with some really, really high level people.
Yeah.
was networking like a mad dog in London, was in Toastmasters in
Right.
London and Chicago, actually. And so after London, my whole family had moved from Chicago to Houston.
Yeah.
And so that's why I moved to Houston.
Okay.
But while in London, I just started to post motivational words,
Okay.
because of that stuff
Yeah.
that's eating me up, like that void I had to
Right.
feel on YouTube. People were not really watching, to be honest,
Yeah.
but I gained a little bit of visibility in my
Yeah.
community.
And experience.
And experience.
Which is the biggest thing out of everything.
Thank
right?
you, Gil.
Visibility is normally nothing because these are follows, and you are a leader. Leaders don't follow.
Amen. Okay.
Right.
Take me to church, Gil.
Yeah.
And so, but you're right. And so that's what happens. So I just started to post that, and people would watch like 200 views, 300 views
Yeah.
on Facebook, some more views on Facebook. And that's how this whole media started to open up, because
Gotcha.
for some reason, I just knew that I had to be in front. I just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
But I didn't post that because the intent was because I want to be in front. I posted those videos because I really wanted to motivate people, and I have the heart to. I just want people to be mentally stable.
There you go.
I want people to be successful.
Yeah.
I want people to achieve the highest level of success, the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
So that for me was encouraging them to be that person, which is also part of my brand. And so when I moved back to Houston, I didn't have enough power in me to keep doing the motivational words,
Yeah.
because it took a lot of studying, a lot of reading, a lot
Right.
of praying, and I
Right.
just couldn't. It wasn't easy for me to maintain
Gotcha.
that life. And I got a job as an executive director for a nonprofit, which was a very very
Okay.
big job in Houston. I was so thankful for that.
Right.
And I was doing that, and then I was like, you know what? In London, I was connecting to diaspora, so I have
Right.
to do that again here in
Yeah.
Houston. And that's how I started to network at events, and
There
that's
you
how I
go.
met Deborah from SAD, and met
Right.
people, connected with the mayor's office, and just
Yeah.
so many people, and just brought in my
Indeed.
brand.
Yeah.
And still, again, that void of how do I get into media?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? How do I go to the front?
Yeah.
Or get to the front? And so one day I was on Instagram and I was scrolling, and I saw a post from this local station in Houston
Okay.
saying you're looking for presenters and
Yeah.
hosts and all that stuff. I was like, I can
Yeah.
try it out. Let me
Okay.
see if this works out.
Do you want to give us the station name?
Of course, Afrocentric TV.
There you go.
Afrocentric TV. And so I applied. They called me. I interviewed with them, and I started to work with them.
Yeah.
And so that was when, okay, this whole media thing started to happen.
Got you. Who was the owner or the CEO of the organization at the time? Do you
So,
still remember?
I remember the first names, of course. These are
Yeah.
people like who are still in my contact.
Gotcha.
And there's Kunle, and then there's Wale.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Is it Kunle? Listen,
Yeah.
okay. At this
Where
rate,
where they from?
they're
Primarily
Nigerians, obviously from the
Nigerians.
names you can
Got
hear. It's a
you.
Nigerian
Okay.
station,
Got you.
but based here in Houston. It was
Yeah.
focused on just interviewing the diaspora
Yeah.
and talking about their journey, their life, their businesses, and all that fun
Got
stuff.
you.
It was on channel 15.1, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And so that was a very good experience
That's
for
so
me.
that's basically the pioneering of a lot
that has
Houston
now
is
happened
doing today, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, Afrocentric, yes.
Yeah.
I have to give them their flowers. They are doing a lot, and they're still
Yeah.
active.
Yeah. Okay.
And so afterwards, before the pandemic hit, I left Afrocentric to work for another station, very local,
Okay.
called Cry Out TV.
Yeah.
And they focus on just broadcasting to West Africa.
Got you.
And so I worked with them a little bit. We're working on a show. But before the pandemic, that show didn't happen.
Okay.
And that show was going to be good, if I must say.
Okay.
We worked out all
Yeah.
for that. And this whole time, I had been nurturing the idea of starting my own thing,
Okay.
right? Even when working for Afrocentric. My dad, who's my number one cheerleader, came
Yeah.
to my room one day. He said, "You're going through all these challenges.
Right.
You can start your own.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like why don't
Eventually
you
just gotta do it.
like you have
do
it in
something.
you. Do something."
Yeah.
And that's how during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do
There
something.
you
And
go.
I started Nia Black Studios.
Yeah.
And we started to host conversations about like topics that matter, or topics that matter. We talked about relationship between Black men and Black women, toxic masculinity,
Ooh.
toxic femininity.
Wow.
You know, and let me tell you, that was one of my greatest achievements during the pandemic, because I would have a panel of like 5-6 people,
Right.
individuals, Black Americans, African,
Right.
like Africans, like the whole mix. And it was hot.
Yeah, that
I had
those, and
people-
these are controversial topics
Yes,
too, right?
I had people logging on to watch. The one that was the most like successful, I had
Yeah.
views for days on
Yeah.
Facebook, especially. People
Yeah.
were waiting for the next Saturday.
Right.
What's Nia gonna come up with?
Oh wow.
And it was relationship between African Americans and Africans. Would you
Yeah.
marry an African American? Would you marry an African? Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had one
yeah.
particular South African girl who blew up my platform. It
Oh,
was
wow.
people were texting me, "Can I come on your show?" You know, so that's how I was like, Okay,
Yeah,
we're gonna
we
go
got
with this.
something,
We
yeah.
got
We
something
got
here.
something,
Something
yeah.
is here.
Yeah, you got something.
And so that's how it kind of happened. And then after the pandemic, last year, people started to get busy. No one is going to sit down and watch,
Indeed.
a Zoom call or like
Right.
a StreamYard
Right.
streaming.
Yeah.
And so have time to even come interview. You had to schedule a lot.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, let's go into studio. Let's do something
Yeah.
else. So I started to work with this nonprofit called Who is Who in Nigerian Diaspora.
Okay.
We started a show called The Story of Becoming, where we
Okay.
interview like top influencers
Got you.
across diaspora, and they talk
Nice.
about their story of how they've become.
Nice.
So we had, I want to say, really top people. The girl
Yeah.
who was on America's Got Talent, Ketty Okuchi, she's a burn survivor. She was on the show.
Yeah.
The chief financial officer for Citibank Worldwide
Right,
was on
yeah.
the show. We had actors. So it was really a good stuff,
Yeah.
a good thing going on.
No, that is definitely great.
Yeah.
Let's take another quick break, because we definitely got to take a look at some more of your stuff, because you have a lot of good stuff out there to show our viewers, and we don't want them to just listen to the story. We actually want them to see you in action.
All
So
right.
we'll be right back.
Hi everyone, welcome to Conversations with Nia Business Spotlight. I'm super excited today. If you know me, you know I love a man that's well suited up, okay? Are you excited? Come on, let's go, come on in.
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into the Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and today our guest is Nia Black. Miss Let's light up Houston, Texas, make it an excellent city where we actually showcase Afro excellence, right?
Yes.
Your show is definitely something that, first, actually, let me say something. Your technical director, your production.
Yeah, my production
guy,
head.
Yeah. Good guy.
Oh, thank you. Everyone says that. I'm blessed.
No, really, good guy. I'll tell you right now, you don't find those kind of guys in a lot of places. You don't. Really a good guy. And when I say good, I mean solid
Yes.
on what he knows and what he understands. No BS. Not a complainer.
Shout out Vic.
You know, Vic is like, it's so funny because
Vic.
I'm telling you, I normally measure a person's character at times of stress,
Yes.
right? Because that's when you can actually tell who can manage and who cannot. And people that know what they're doing, normally they just have this calmness that just happens, right? They're stressless because you know that eventually it's showtime, and at showtime things need to happen. So definitely good team. You need to keep them still with.
I am hugging them tight.
Yeah.
They are not leaving my side.
Indeed.
Vic especially.
Yeah, and which is also something that very many of us in the diaspora don't do, which is actually create a positive and a good team around ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
You know what? I don't know. I think that there are a lot of reasons. I think some of us don't know how to.
Gotcha. Know-how. So lack of know-how.
Lack
Still
of know-how.
a problem in the community.
It's still a problem in the community.
Okay.
People have not developed themselves to learn how to lead a team or put a team together. And what I've noticed, especially amongst women, is we tend to be very competitive.
Right.
Right? I mean, everyone is competitive. You have to
Yeah.
survive.
It's a competitive game.
It's yeah, exactly. But if you bring someone on your team, you know, and maybe that person's starting to shine, then you want to kind of suppress that because you want to be the queen or the king, whatever it is. That becomes a problem.
Indeed.
And then many of us don't have the skill, the capability to create a team, to build a team, and to keep leading a team. So I think there's just a couple of things. I think many people need to go through more training, I would say, in a sense.
I do agree with you, and I think that your corporate experience, right, gave you that edge.
100%.
And that difference shows today. And I'll tell you what's really beautiful about that is the fact that you now also showing that difference to the rest of the community. They can therefore learn that from you and see how you can go from that point onto the next one.
Absolutely.
Because you definitely have a supporter in me in whatever
thanks,
necessary,
Gil.
right? That's what we're here for. In all honesty, I believe that you're doing I told you, when you are able to support nonprofits, you have gotten to a place where you deserve to be showcased.
Oh, thanks, Gil.
Yeah, period.
Period.
Yeah, period.
Thanks,
It's right.
Gil.
There's really,
it.
and it is really what it is. So what's new? What's upcoming with your show?
And that's a really good question. But first, let me just comment and say thank you again, Gil.
No, you're quite
with the
welcome.
praises. Trust me, it's not falling on deaf ears. I appreciate it.
Indeed.
This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm thankful for the team that I have. And Vic is amazing. So thank you for seeing what I can't even see.
Yeah.
And so for my show, we are just going to focus more on the community. Sorry, I didn't say that word. The community.
Yeah.
Right now, we have something called the Business Spotlight.
Okay.
Where we're spotlighting businesses in the community.
There you go.
And because a lot of small businesses don't have a way to shine. And so it's like, let me give you a platform.
There you go.
You know, right now our views are increasing on YouTube. I'm thankful for that.
Which is good.
I have a strong marketing team in Nigeria, so that's really good.
Yeah.
So they help with, promoting and boosting however we can.
Yeah. And you already, not to cut you off, you're already on that global mindset.
Honestly,
right?
we are.
Yeah.
We have to be, because I feel like, yes, I am local to Houston now, but I'm global.
Indeed.
And being someone from outside the country made me global,
Exactly.
right? It's automatic. I can't shake it off. And then studying in London, having a vast experience, I am. And so I have to just embrace it and keep building on that foundation. And so, even people when we look at the analytics, my cousin was even looking at it. You have people from Singapore watching the show, and people, it's just, we're building that brand essentially and commenting too.
Yeah.
And so, the Business Spotlight, I love it so much. And so if you're a business in Houston, if you want to tap in, reach out to info@niablackstudios.com. Let's feature your business. And then we're also working on more conversations about topics that matter.
There you go.
I want to have table shaking conversations.
There you go.
I want to freaking break the internet, okay? I want to bring people to talk about what we cannot say. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this abortion. What's happening with that?
There you
Let's
go.
talk about, wigs and weaves and black culture and everything. And then lastly, we're actually working on this, my team and I, trying to interview really, really high-level top influencers. And I don't mean like social media influencers. I'm talking presidents. I'm talking, people on that caliber level, leaders, and then even high-level celebrities. Hey,
there you go.
if Beyonce wants to come on, we have a platform for that.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to work on doing like a one-on-one intimate story with them, like how they became as well.
Yeah,
so taking what we had with the organization we're working with, sorry about that, and then bringing that to Nia Black Studios and doing that full time.
There you go.
That's it.
All right, and that's and if they needed to get access to you, how would they go? What's the website? Where's your social media?
It is literally info@niablackstudios.com to send an email. Website is www.niablackstudios.org. The Instagram, my Instagram is Nia Black _Amuzie. The Instagram for our page is Nia Black Studios.
Okay.
I talk so fast sometimes
There
and
you
then I
go.
stutter and stumble,
It's
but
all
this
good.
is, I'm excited. This is exciting.
Yeah.
So let me just say that. I'm
No,
nervous
it's a
too.
pleasure.
I'm nervous, Gil. I'm
It's
very
okay.
nervous.
It's okay. Hopefully.
So I'm just stuttering. and
I'm trying
mixing my
to.
words.
I'm trying to make you feel at home.
Look at your
because-
present. You have this
thank you.
beautiful present. It's
thank
making me
you.
so nervous, but no, I love it. I love
Listen,
it.
I knew that I was going to have a very beautiful guest, a very eloquent guest, so I had to kind of try to match that level,
Thank
right?
you.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about presenting you in the best light.
You are
Because if
doing
you
so
don't look
good.
good, I don't look good.
Listen, okay?
Yeah.
But thank you.
Indeed. No, it's definitely a pleasure. So the website again?
www.niablackstudios.com. I said .org.com.
.com.
And then the page on Instagram is @Nia Black Studios.
Got you.
My personal page is @Nia Black _Amuzie.
All right.
Yeah.
And listen, Nia, thank you for stopping by. Definitely
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
This
right?
was so fun.
You're a busy person, and I
Very busy.
appreciate you. But man, I tell you what, one more accolade. You do keep your commitments.
Of course.
You keep your commitments, and that's
reputation
very
matters
good.
in this community. It's
Indeed.
a small crowd.
Right?
We gotta be careful.
Exactly.
Thank
and
you, Gil.
And that's what we have to remember, because at the end of the day, remember, if we don't do it for ourselves, who will?
Yes, Gil,
Indeed.
this has been a pleasure. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much. And for those of you that took time to listen to this conversation, listen, as always, I appreciate you guys doing so. And remember, just share the content, do whatever you can do. We're here for you. Without you, there's no us. Until next time, peace.
Hey, Houston, are you looking to start your own podcast but not sure how? Houston Podcast Studio is your local choice for podcast recording and production. Call us today to schedule a tour and find out how to get started.